Let's do a little shot, shall we?
Should I go down and get an actual shot, or should I just do my beer?
I can't see. I don't want to watch you walking your joggers.
I can't see your dick again.
Yeah, I'm going to need to drink a lot more.
I've seen your dick one more time than I've ever wanted to. That was enough.
John's obviously never played on a hockey team.
Does everyone who plays hockey see Kevin's dick? I don't understand.
That is a prerequisite.
You see a lot of dicks when you play it.
You do see a lot of wangs, for sure.
I've never played. That's why I don't like sports.
Because you don't like wangs?
I don't. No, I'm not a fan. My own. That thing's amazing. I play with it all the time, and I try to get other people to play with it.
I do a lot of things with my penis.
And I've been to jail several times trying to get that to happen.
Cheers.
History Repeats Itself is a comedy podcast. Kevin, John, and Greg are not experts, historians, or even all that smart.
Hello and welcome to History Defeats Itself. My name is Kevin Rosenquist. Thank you for being here. We are a comedy podcast that wonders why do we never learn from our history. Of course, I am being joined. I don't know why I said I'm being joined. I am joined by my two co-hosts, two men who are both upset that they also have not won a Grammy for Best Album, John Banks and Greg Mitchell.
You keep saying that, and I keep reminding you that Greg and I wrote a very lovely Grammy Award-winning album in 1984 called Teletubby Time.
That was well before the Teletubbies, I think, too, so kudos.
Well, we were innovators.
We're still getting residuals.
Yeah. How do you think we afford these smooth haircuts?
We were on
Did you guys watch the Grammys?
We were on the first episode of MTV Cribs.
I did not watch the Grammys because I don't watch any award shows because I feel like they're rich and they're all doing great. I don't need to celebrate what they've done.
I only watched the Junos.
The Junos?
Yeah, the Junos.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
It's the Canadian Music Award show.
Oh,
yeah.
You guys should know that.
No, I don't think many people do.
Well,
I watched the Grammys for the first time in as long as I can remember, and it was really entertaining, I have to say. And I read the next day that they started doing this thing where in like 2021 they changed it to be more just live performances. So there was a lot of live performances and a lot less like sitting there waiting for awards and speeches and stuff like that. So it was actually way more entertaining.
Was Killer Mike killing it?
He won a lot of awards, but I don't think he performed.
He got arrested.
Oh, I really like him actually.
Oh, he's great. Run of the Jewels is awesome.
He got arrested.
He did?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was for misdemeanor assault.
Assault. I did see that.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't know misdemeanor. So I don't know if he had words with somebody because battery is physical. You can get charged with assault for words.
Okay,
So
I think he sense that this episode is going to be about John's law degree.
Oh my God,
so I'm going to tell you what jurisprudence means.
I'm sorry. I know that you can't read, but I can. And I read an article where they were talking about that. So go fuck yourself, you illiterate son of a bitch.
Greg, your time starts now.
Illiterate means you can't read, you dumb fuck.
My rebuttal is this. John, I agree.
Oh, okay.
Everything you said checks out.
I'm going to watch my P's and Q's.
Yep. Dot those I's, cross those T's.
Do you think you're supposed to watch? What's that stand for, P's and Q's? I know it's got to stand for words, right?
Well, I know, but I'm afraid if I say, then you're going to like have judgment because I know things. I can't win with you.
Do you really know this one? Because I don't.
Proxies and quartus. They're Latin.
I think you're wrong. I think it's Pac-Man and Cubert.
Yeah, I'm just it is. It is totally Pac-Man and Cubert. I have no idea. I have no idea where P's and Q's are. And I don't know why you got to dot your I's and cross your T's because you also got to dot your little J's. You got to put a little line in your Q's, or else everybody thinks there's an O. So maybe I don't know why people.
Maybe you got to watch your P's and Q's because if you're dyslexic, they they're just the opposite of each other. But I don't think that's it. I think they really stand for words.
I like Pac-Man and Cubert myself.
Well, and they don't sound alike, so why don't they like at least? It should be like what's your C's and K's, because like that at least, you know.
Yeah, you don't often mix up P's and Q's.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a great mystery.
I'm gonna
if
look
only
it
we
up.
had a machine that could look it up for us.
Guess what I'm doing my topic on? P's and Q's.
P's and Q's.
Watching
How
random
you do-
letters.
Wait, how are you doing, Kevin? Did
I'm
you
doing great.
Did
I'm
you win
doing
any
great.
Grammys?
I did not win a Grammy. Sadly, never gonna happen. I don't think.
What about an Oscar?
Not yet.
All
I'm
right.
still working on that one.
Did you get nominated?
No.
Man.
I know.
All right.
I know. I'm
Let's
a
see.
total loser.
It just means to mind your manners.
Yeah. Are you looking at P's and Q's?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is going to be painful for people to listen to.
Why don't
Well,
go
you
do
guys
the
can go
thing
on. I'm
there?
just reading Wikipedia.
Let's get this bad boy going.
Like I'm
All
want
right,
to.
yeah, go for it, John. Thanks everybody for being here. John is John's leading today. What you got, bud?
All right. Well, so recently, my partner and I, Courtney.
Are you talking about in law enforcement, like Ponch and
Partner?
John?
Yes. No. I'm talking in business. My business partner, Courtney. And we're in the business of pegging. So that's
I don't
what,
think that's what means. Or I've been using it wrong.
tomato dildo, whatever. So we watched the show Narcos. The one, and there's six seasons, and they're
There's
all
6 now.
well.
Is today's episode going to be just a summary of everything that happened in Narcos?
yeah, pretty much. No, so it kind of got me like really interested in drug trafficking.
Oh.
And
Wait,
so
In taking it
this-
on as a subject or as a hobby or what?
no, as a business. So I just want to throw some things out, see what you guys think, and then let's broadcast it and see if it brings the heat down up on me.
You trying to get some advertising in
well,
right
yeah,
now?
Yeah, we could come up with a business plan live.
I mean, I think first of all, my understanding of drug trafficking is you traffic the drugs and you sell them, and then you take that money and then you launder it through stuff, and then you buy stuff that you want. That's how I understand.
So
it
your
to work.
advice about, let's see, explaining Narcos and drug trafficking is to watch Breaking Bad.
I mean, that is also a very good show, right? Good business model. But I feel that he was like kind of small time, very regional, and what we want is national distribution. So
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere.
yeah, I mean, but I'd
Yeah,
rather
it's hard to start with national distribution, and there's going to be some upset people too.
All right, well, I'm talking to small thinkers.
Okay.
So that's on me.
It's true.
I
That's true.
thought you had big visions, but apparently you're limited by your vision. So
Can I handle your marketing?
Sure.
Is it
I don't
cool
think
if
we
I
use
leave
much-
this podcast?
The first thing we're going to do is start a podcast. That's for sure. That's step
Called
number
cocaine.
one. Cocaine.
All right, so this is it is the history of smuggling from Mexico.
Smuggling nuggets.
Smuggling, yeah. Well, they were, and it started out where smuggling started basically. It was actually Chinese Mexican immigrants who started planting poppy seeds or opium and smuggling opium up to the Chinese people who were working on the railroads, like back in the like eight.
Not unlike what happened in Narcos.
Well, I mean, that was not in Narcos at all. So there was
yeah.
no opium trade. Well, that's not true. There was some
Actually,
opium,
that's not true. Fucking what's his face traveled to Asia and they fucking did a whole thing about that.
You're thinking of Lost in
what's his
Translation.
but yeah. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not.
Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson were drug
There was
traffickers. Remember that
no
one?
fucking. Oh yeah, that's right. That did
Who
that.
traveled to Asia? What are you talking about? Seriously,
in Narcos. You don't remember that?
who the fuck went to Asia?
All right, with this, move on.
Are you talking about?
No, John and I need
Games?
to finish our argument. Our therapist tells us that we have to finish our arguments.
Even if you're live on air.
Yes.
Well, okay. Seriously, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You old man who gets shit confused. Yeah,
I mean,
you
if
can make
feel
that
like
face.
you have to insult me. That's
Yes.
fine.
I
You don't
constantly feel
remember that I was the showrunner for Narcos for the first 2 seasons. Okay.
You're right. I apologize. My
I
bad.
mean, I was the drug runner for the first 2 seasons.
So then basically the Chinese started to smuggle across the border, bringing up opium, and then you had the Sinaloa.
Sinaloa.
Thank you. Sinaloa region of Mexico, where you basically had all these farmers and they started to grow like a little bit of poppy because they saw the money in it. And then they started smuggling opium. But again, it was like very, very small scale. And
See, you start small, John. This is what Greg and I were trying to tell you.
He's a big
Well,
thinker, though.
we're going to see why you don't start small. We're going to get
All right.
into why you go big. So
Right from the outset, you go right to big.
well, you got to have a big vision, Greg.
There's nothing
Come
wrong
on.
with having a big vision, but it's just
You still gotta start small.
logistics.
Yeah, logistically,
Mhm.
financially, you don't have a lot of capital, I mean, unless you have investors, but then, then you
You
gotta
gotta
pay back
get
investors.
addicted to the
and-
drugs for a little while. then
Yeah,
get
you gotta,
yourself
I mean, you
off
gotta know
them.
what you're selling, right?
Apparently, in drug smuggling, all you really need is gun and the propensity to commit violence. With that, sky's the limit.
I'm already out.
Because you
still
don't own a
in.
gun, or you can't be violent.
Both. Yeah,
Well,
we
maybe
saw
start with a gun
Kevin.
and see what you feel like.
We
with
saw
it in your
Kevin
hand.
walking across his room, snuggling his fucking twig and berries. Of course, he's in.
I wasn't snuggling anything.
Just so the listener knows, he was wearing joggers without underwear.
That's
He's
right.
Smuggling,
I
smuggling
am currently
plums.
not wearing underwear.
He was smuggling raisins.
Okay.
I said plums. I gave you more.
Nope.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
shriveled up raisins.
Whatever. You were talking about how impressive it was earlier before we hit record.
Well, and I think maybe you were just judging by my body language because my fucking jaw became unhinged. Not because I wanted to put it in my mouth. Not that reason.
Look, my jaw
just wasn't-
came unhinged and my mouth started watering. That's what
Yeah.
happens when I see a small penis that I want to put in my
Everyone
mouth.
knows. And then I got a scared erection.
And then you got to masturbate to get the fear out.
Then you can't walk around with that erection.
That's right.
Then you
Not
got to
those
masturbate
sweatpants.
again. Just make sure you got all the fear out.
That's right.
That was hot. Kevin, can you get up again?
No, I don't want to do that to you, Greg.
Hey, Kevin, why don't you go over across the room and get that guitar that's behind you?
Start playing it.
Yeah.
Start serenading you.
Wouldn't that be funny if your guitar was only this big, but it was a perspective issue? It's just like really just right there.
It's right. It's like right, like behind
Yeah.
my shoulder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not funny at all. John, continue.
You talking about the good? I'm sorry. You were so boring. I totally stopped paying attention. What's happening?
That's on you, buddy. The
Okay,
topic
that's
is
fair.
not
That's fair.
interesting.
So by the mid 20th century, opium production and trafficking in Mexico increased during the mid 20th, and the drug trade was relatively small scale still compared to later years. So basically, from about like it started picking up in 1917. So there was like some drug trafficking in the early 1900s, and then 1917. If you will remember from one of our first episodes, you had the Harris Act that passed, which made the import of cocaine, coca leaves, heroin, or any sort of opium product or poppy. It made it illegal to bring it into the United States. So
I
then
don't remember.
trafficking-
Did we talk about drugs in an early episode?
Well, I don't know if it ever aired, but that was the one. Remember when we did you did the drink? That was when we were still doing the.
Oh, was that like our test episode or whatever?
May-
Oh, okay. Well, you
May-
did one on marijuana. I don't know if it would have come up then.
Yeah, no, I don't think I talked about
I
trafficking.
do remember being bored about that before.
About marijuana. I mean, you're bored of everything I do.
Yeah.
I mean, if my mouth is moving,
I
you're
didn't know it was
bored.
your episode.
The marijuana episode.
No, whatever.
All right. Now I'm bored too.
So anyway, so 1917, you had this thing called the Harris Act that passed. And
Wasn't
then
that
they
the
all
same year as that flu that killed everybody?
That would have been 1918.
The other pandemic.
It was 19. I think it was 1917.
Or was it 1914? Yeah. Anyway, and so then you started.
Spanish flu was 1917.
Okay.
Okay,
Just move on.
And then, what really caused the drug or the trafficking, I wouldn't to really increase was when America had prohibition.
Did they have cars back then where they got in traffic?
You mean coming across the border, or
Yeah, like what kind? I don't understand what trafficking is.
trafficking is when you're moving illegal substances from one country to another, or even within that country.
And you're stuck in traffic.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Why do they call it trafficking?
You have to. Well, you can only traffic if you listen to AM radio.
And your dad keeps telling you to shut up.
You're like, Dad, I got cocaine in the trunk.
That's my only memory of listening to AM radio. It's in the backseat of my dad when my dad was driving.
I've talked about it before. I loved talk radio when I was a kid.
Of course,
Yeah, but you were you were born an old man. So
I loved rockabilly like a good kid.
I never got really into rockabilly, but I did love talk radio.
I was really into AC/DC.
Yeah, I was too.
12. So then that really like kicked up, and so basically what that did with prohibition, you had 3 paths that developed, where you had these like systems that got in place where they would traffic, and basically it would come in through Tijuana to San Diego, and then it would come through Brownsville, Texas, which is the Gulf side, and then you had Juarez, but Juarez
Was it through MS-13?
No.
Oh,
No, it's not through MS-13.
I'm making a cocktail right on.
What do you?
Right
Okay, all right. So anyway, so the alcohol, the prohibition of alcohol, really developed these smuggling like paths or roads or plazas, if you will. So then going to the 1960s is when you start having the rise of cartels, because like in the 1960s, you have a lot of this, how do you say it? Sinaloa? Sinaloa. I don't know why but the Sinaloa, you had all these farmers in the Sinaloa region or Sinaloa state of Mexico who were growing.
There's a song by Bruce Springsteen called Sinaloa Cowboys.
Well, there you go, because that would be what these guys are, because they were just a whole bunch of farmers, and they were growing tomatoes, and then all of a sudden there was like a huge explosion of weed on college campuses, and so then they started exporting weed.
I like how you say weed. Weed. You like weed, don't you?
I love weed.
So you said the 70s is when it started taking off, the smuggling?
Well, like when it really became like a multi-billion dollar
The
business.
Cartels. That's when the cartels started.
Yeah. So in the 60s,
Are we gonna get in trouble for talking about this?
That's yeah. Don't give any secrets.
Are we gonna say good
that's a
things
big
about it?
gap between prohibition and that.
Well, there was smuggling going on the whole time, but think of it like, it was families that you made. So if you would get like, I don't know, say like 1,000 pesos for like having a whole field of tomatoes, you get 5,000 pesos for opium. So you had basically from around 1917 to the mid 60s, you just had these small farmers. You had you just had all these like small farmers who would sell to like traffickers. And
Were
it was
they
like
physically small, or their farms were small?
their farms were small. Like they would have like,
But could they have been small too?
They probably
were probably small
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, probably. Have
Although
you
one of
guys
the
ever
guys-
chased the dragon? Have you guys ever done opium?
Yes.
No, nope. I don't like drugs. Nope.
Did you enjoy it?
Opium?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really did.
Listen
Like,
to Kevin's laugh.
Opium and heroin are the two things that. I've never tried fentanyl. So I
You
don't
tried
know.
heroin?
Yeah, I tried heroin, and it
the hell's
is,
wrong with you?
It is.
He saw Train Spotting. He's like, you know what? That looked like such a good fucking idea.
I wanted baby to die on me, and imagine it crawling on the ceiling, and
Oh,
it didn't happen
God.
because
Yeah,
I was
that
just at
was
a.
fucking
And you wanted to climb through a toilet to get your drugs? And...
I did, but I
Mhm.
didn't get to do any of that. I just basically laid on the couch and hallucinated. It was pretty cool. But I totally get how people, when they do it, or I don't have the kind of brain where I get addicted to stuff. So like cocaine, alcohol, stuff like that.
I think there's an episode of Starsky and Hutch where Hutch got addicted to fucking heroin. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my
And
god!
he had to come off it, and he was like really sweaty and staying in a fucking one-room apartment for a while. And I hope I'm not imagining that. I'm gonna have to look into that later, because I'm pretty sure that happened. And that informed me not to ever try drugs, because if fucking David Hutchinson can't do it, neither.
But
can
you
Greg
have
Mention.
tried drugs.
Well, the heroin.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
How big of a fan of Starsky and Hutch were you?
Pretty big. Pretty big.
I have never seen Starsky. and
Me
Hutch.
neither.
I saw the movie. It was pretty bad.
Oh my, you know what? The movie would have been much better if you had seen the original show, because they recreated like so many of the exact same things that happened in the TV show. There's a bunch of Easter. They call those Easter eggs.
Mm.
I mean, I know we always make fun of you for being older than us, but man, like this is a real God, you're fucking old moment.
Yeah, this is an eye opener.
Yeah.
If that makes you feel better, John.
Well, no,
I'm
I'm
only like
thinking
5
maybe
years older than you, buddy.
maybe the reason the podcast hasn't blown up is you're holding us back, old man.
Yeah.
Because we're hip. Gen
just
Xers.
say the word and
That's the second time he's quit this episode.
He can't quit quitting. So yeah, so in the
you're
60s,
so young, John. Oh my God, Gaga, goo goo, get in your crib, you little baby.
I'm the youngest.
yeah.
You don't look the youngest.
Yeah, I do.
This
No, you
morning
don't.
I was brushing my teeth and I
Yeah, I
was
do.
looking at my face and I was like, fuck. That was it. Like, there was no, it was like, I was just like, fuck.
Good thing I have.
This is not going well.
No,
Good thing I have face blindness.
This is not getting better. This is every day it's getting worse and worse.
Well, if you didn't have
Well,
a 10-foot long gray
I was
fucking
just going to
beard,
say there's one large thing you could do to look younger. That's for sure.
Pull up my penis. Walking around. Hey, I'm young. Look at my penis.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, is it shaving the beard?
It's shaving the beard.
Yeah. Yeah, Courtney would agree with you. She hates
It does make you look older.
It does. It does. Makes me look like a prospecting gold mountain man, old, have a
Yes.
mule. But life wisdom. I got some wise things that I could say because of this beard.
I don't
No?
see why. I don't see wisdom. I see moonshine dependency.
Yeah.
Your mustache is getting quite a bit bigger.
It is. Yeah.
It kind of, the only downside to having a mustache like that is that it kind of, like, a lot of times it looks like you just have shit in your teeth.
Yeah. Well, and also, man, everything I drink now, I have to like I gotta get on my bottom lip. It's like a fuck, it's just constantly wet. Like Courtney has learned, like she doesn't kiss me. Like if I'm drinking a glass of water, I gotta pat that thing off because if she goes to kiss me after water, it's all over her face. So, which is on her. That's not on me.
it's like
How about
kissing a,
get some
it's like
straws, man?
it's like
That's a good
kissing a
idea.
wet dog.
Anyway,
So you have the smuggling going on, but again, it's just all these farmers who are like, they're literally growing crops and also they grow poppy or they grow marijuana, whatever. And so then in the 60s, you have like the hippie boom, right? So you have all these hippies. And so you have this huge increase in the consumption of pot in the United States. So then from there, you have, and at that time, you basically, you kind of have like, think of it like it's just all these like independent traffickers, right? So it's these independent smugglers, and this guy named Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo, he came up with the idea to basically, if they all united and they went completely vertical, meaning, so what they did was they stopped, because the problem with the farms is the farms would get raided. So basically they made these giant fields in the middle of deserts where they would grow like the biggest one was like 2,500 acres, and they would have these fields, and they basically, there was these two California guys, and I didn't write their name down, but they're the ones who came up with seedless weed in the 70s.
Was it the Beach
And-
Boys?
It was the Beach Boys. Yeah, it was Brian Wilson. Yep. And anyway, and so they made seedless marijuana, and so they were growing the seedless marijuana, and it was, number one, it was like way more potent. Number two, it was way more desired because people didn't get the seeds, and then also because it didn't have seeds, you could package more marijuana, more sellable product when they were bundling it. So all in all, it was just a way more profitable thing for them. And since it was like they all controlled it, and so basically that was the formation, and they didn't call it at the time; they called it the Federation, but that basically was kind of the predecessor to the Guadalajara cartel, which is kind of responsible for what happens, like how we end up with Mexico being the biggest like trafficker of cocaine. So, but
shh.
Of cocaine or of marijuana?
We don't want them to get. We don't want them
to come kill
We
us.
don't want to be on their shit list.
I don't think they listen to this podcast.
You
never
don't know
know.
that.
That's true. I don't know. Well, and I'm not saying, I mean, most of these people are dead or in prison, so I don't think they're
Okay.
going to come for us. But then Miguel Angel Felix Gallardo is one of the key figures in the early history of drug cartels in Mexico. Born on January 8th, 1946, he was often referred to as the godfather or the boss of bosses in the world of drug trafficking. Felix played a pivotal role in the formation of the Guadalajara cartel, aka the Federation, and I'm not sure if Star Trek stole that from him.
Star Trek.
The Federation.
Star Trek?
Yeah. You ever watch Star Trek? It was all part of the Federation.
Oh, yeah.
Star
I do.
Trek. I've seen Star Trek.
Not Star Trek.
Have you guys seen Go Fuck Yourself?
Yeah, that's great. It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, underrated.
It's my favorite
seen
show about you two.
I've seen Star Search,
I remember Star Search. Yeah.
Aw.
Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll bet this guy was. I'll bet he was a nice man. I'll bet he was very considerate, nonviolent.
Well, in the beginning he was.
Oh,
And, well,
okay.
and what's crazy is most of these guys because there's and so I'm going to kind of break this down where I'm going to kind of talk about the trafficking, and then I'm going to talk about the Mexican government and kind of how those two, because the Mexican government was so corrupt and why it was so corrupt, that's kind of how like it was just like the perfect storm for this to
The
work.
opinions of John Banks don't necessarily
It's not
represent the
my
opinions
opinion.
of Greg
It's-
and Kevin. So if you're part of the cartel, please do not kill us. Kill John first. Thank you very much. This has been.
Well, why'd you say first?
First,
I
what?
mean, first and only.
Oh, there you go.
First and only what?
To
only
die.
kill John.
I don't.
And your message will be received. That's enough. That's enough killing.
We won't do it again.
Keep in mind the format of our podcast. One person did the research, and the other two only learned about the topic at the same time as you did there, Cartel.
I don't think you get how cartels work. If they're coming for me, they're coming for all three of us.
Damn it.
So,
That's
because
not how cartels work. And do you notice that you constantly tell me I don't know how things work?
yes, yeah,
That's
you know
not
why?
how you
'Cause
teach somebody how things work.
how do I teach things? How something works?
That's not how you teach somebody how things work by just fucking
I don't
saying
want you
they
to learn things. I just want you to know that you're wrong. I apologize for not being clear about that.
I'm so professorial.
Guys, what happened today?
Man,
You're being very mean to each other.
yeah.
Like
Fuck
more
you,
so than
little dick.
usual.
You're
There
just
you go.
pissed because you don't have bangs anymore.
Okay.
You know, Greg, you always go. Never mind. I was just keep
For
going.
the low hanging fruit, like in your
No.
pants.
no, you always go for the forehead. like always
I'm
for the
sorry.
forehead.
I'll just sit here and not say anything ever again.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like the little dick joke thing is a little,
Okay, your dick's huge.
a little seventh grade.
Right. You should up your game and be like us and have more of a ninth grade sophisticated
Yeah,
humor.
man, come on. At least make it to high school for God's sake.
Yeah. Fucking child. You're a
Yeah.
child.
Just a fucking child.
Black slimming shirt. What? I don't know. So Miguel, his legacy is significant in the history of drug trafficking in Mexico,
shirt's
making the
curly.
transition from loose trafficking networks to more structured and powerful cartels that continue to impact the region to this day. So basically, and this guy, he was like a cop before he was like a state police guy in Mexico, and then he started growing like, and even at the time, like when he kind of came up with the idea for this, he was actually a police officer. And then he kind of came up with this idea.
So he kind of had a little inside track
yeah,
how to get away with some shit.
yeah, and basically
Would you
you
say
just
he
had
a
like
Star Trek.
He had a Star Trek. Also, you have a little dick
and bangs.
and bangs,
So
and you're bad at sports. I don't try to hit all the Gregisms.
anxiety. I don't know. He doesn't really make fun.
That's a good one.
He does make fun of himself for anxiety.
He does. Yeah, that's true.
Climate.
No,
Yeah.
that's also making fun of himself, though.
So are you like? Do you think that your very prominent forehead is a good feature of your face, Greg? Is that why you go after the? Oh, what was that? That's crazy. So I just got a text message and it dinged, and I thought that was Kevin, but it was not. It was my computer.
It was not me.
There you go.
That one was me.
Other founding members.
I'm pretty sure this is gonna be funny when you get to my forehead. Yes,
No,
I
that
have
was
a big forehead, John.
I was done. You have a big forehead.
Doesn't everybody kind of though? Unless you have a very low hairline, you everybody has a big forehead.
Don't step in and defend him.
Thanks,
That's
Kevin.
true. I don't know why I did that. I
I'm
take it
trying to
back.
help you.
It's because
I'll edit it out.
It's because you're handsome, Kevin. I love you.
Aw.
No, you don't.
You're so cute.
So bunch of lies.
I want to kiss you.
Other founding members of the Guadalajara cartel were
We're gonna get in so much trouble with this.
I know,
episode.
this is
That's
not
why
good.
I'm trying- it's just. Are you gonna give us their social security numbers
Here's
too?
the thing.
Like, what the fuck?
there's been books written for each of these guys.
And every author got
No,
murdered.
I was going to ask how those authors are doing.
the authors are fine, but I will say the drug cartels definitely killed a lot of fucking reporters in Mexico.
Yeah.
But-
so
but not
shut
here.
the fuck up about now. You know why I do episodes about anxiety. Your topics give me anxiety.
Well, here's the thing. There's no way we're going to affect their business, and at the end of the day,
don't know. They don't like anything negative.
So the 300 members or the 300 people who listen to our podcast, they're going to stop buying drugs, which is going to cause a cascading effect and totally collapse the drug market.
Well,
So I guess the
one of
point
our
is-
first ever listeners was El Chapo. I should have probably mentioned that earlier.
Well, we did do that episode on how to escape prison.
So-
And if you are listening to this show, please keep doing drugs. As a matter of fact, maybe increase your usage. We got to keep those cartels happy.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to.
There you go again, assuming one of
Well-
us is going to end up dead.
I mean,
But
if
those
Ronald
reporters thought
Reagan-
they were going to make it too, John.
if Ronald and Nancy couldn't stop it with their "Just Say No" campaign, I don't think we're gonna be the guys. I just, maybe we're gonna be the guys, but
What was the?
I don't want to stop the drug cartels.
I don't either. I just
Okay,
picked
we
the
need a
topic.
disclaimer then.
What if I said I want to stop them?
Never, but I just want to make it clear that we don't.
What was that Melania Trump campaign that made no sense? That was like an anti-bullying or something. Do you remember? that?
she was like,
Don't
they
be like
all-
my husband.
she was like, yeah, everything my husband does.
Don't do it that.
No, it was like it had
Ignore,
it
but-
had like some name that wasn't even proper English. I don't know, because all the first ladies always have some sort of a, they champion something, and hers like, I don't remember.
In fairness, I don't know what Doug's doing really.
What? Who?
The first gentleman.
The
What?
Oh, I guess that's Kamala Harris's. Never mind.
Yeah.
What's Jill
I'm not
doing?
sure what you're talking about.
Yeah. This is why I make fun of you for being stupid.
Just let me prove the point. You don't need to prove it for me.
Touche.
Be best.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Jesus, come on.
Be
Melania.
best.
I like that laugh.
What the fuck is that?
Well, that's just don't hit
good.
people. Don't hit people. Don't bully.
I don't know how that.
Don't
whatever.
trumpet or Putin it.
Don't trumpet.
Be more like Biden.
Did you hear
Old
that your
and
buddy Tucker Carlson's going to interview Putin?
frail. I know.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna pee on him?
What?
If
I don't
Putin
know.
wants him to, he probably will.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like Tucker's like a cuck. So I just feel like,
I think Tucker will pee in his pants.
yeah. Like, what a weird world we're living in.
I
So,
know.
I feel like he should get arrested and
Who,
shot.
Tucker?
Yes.
Well, you did do an episode about him, and it
I
was
did.
not flattering.
Mm-mm. No, it was perfect.
But it does make sense that he's going to go. I mean, it does make sense. He would he's a piece of shit, and it totally makes sense that he would go interview him. So
He is,
'cause he's-
and also, I'm
So if the cartels don't get us, Putin will.
I'm way less afraid of Tucker Carlson than I am the cartels. Let's just put that up there. What's Tucker gonna do? Fucking come in and try and give me a wedgie?
maybe he'll interview us.
Good. I welcome it, Tucker.
All right. So
Bring
then
your
other
best questions. John, give me your email address.
to Tucker.
It's john@beard.com.
It's yep. Beer-
Or you can get Kevin at beer.com.
Beer. Yep. Mhm.
Beerandbeard.com.
and Greg at www.imcold.com. You can find a link.
Sweaters.com.
Greg at whoturnedupthethermostat.com.
Oh wait. Oh, now it's too cold. Now it's hot. Now it's cold. Rafael Caro Quintero. He was a close associate
At
of
AOL.
Felix, and he was. What did you say?
At AOL.
And he. Let's see. And then you had Ernesto Fonseca Correro, as known as Don Neto, and then Hector Luis Palmer Salazar. And basically, like those four guys.
You know, it's really difficult to believe that John's actually been working with a dialect coach on this episode, but he did.
I kind of
He
nailed it,
sent
right?
He sent me the receipts.
And all of let's see.
Keep telling me you can't expense that shit.
Raphael
yeah,
was he was arrested in 1985 in relation to the killing of Enrique Quique Camarino, who was a DEA agent. It was actually and before that time, so he was killed and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but he was like killed in 1985, and
Was he undercover?
because of the way the DEA worked, they were very open, and so he wasn't really undercover, and the cartel believed, and he probably was one of the main guys responsible for a big marijuana seizure. And when that happened, they killed him. They tortured him and killed him. But it was very bad.
That is always the worst.
Yes, I mean it was bad for Kiki, but it was bad because basically what that did was that the United States government, because at that time the DEA agents were working very closely with Mexican government, and so basically the U.S. government was like, and a lot of DEA agents were just like, it was kind of like let's get revenge, and so then it started like they got a little more loose with how the DEA got a little bit loose with how they were operating in Mexico.
They started waterboarding and shit.
Yeah. They started doing some they definitely used the same tactics that the drug dealers or drug traffickers were using. But yeah, so Raphael went to jail in relation or
who will police the police? Right?
Is it Sting?
Sting. Oh, we both said Sting at the exact same
You
time.
totally did. That was fantastic.
Yeah, John, I'm back in love with you.
You never fell out of love with me. We're just having a little spat. It makes the sex more intense.
I don't take the spat seriously, John. I fucking love you. I want to lick your fucking beard pubes.
I mean, they are. Oh, did I tell you? So how long do you think my beard is? How long do you think this thing is?
Well, stand up for a second.
Yeah, stand up. Let's see the whole thing. Gonna go.
I think it's 19 inches.
Overshot. I'm gonna say 14.
9 inches.
Oh,
That's it?
9 inches.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
I really thought it was over a foot. Honestly,
I measured. It's like from like
From
I guess
where
it's
to
actually
where?
10 inches from here to here, but like this from chin down is 9. So that's
That's it?
yeah. I'm sorry. That's
embarrassing.
wait. But what did you say it is from your lip?
so it's about 10 inches from here,
Okay.
from lip to the bottom, and then from the chin down is 9 inches. Who's got 9 inches? This guy. Ernesto Don Neto, another key member of the cartel, was involved in drug trafficking and played a role in the career, and he was arrested in 1985 along with Caro Quintero, and they were both arrested on the suspicion and I think later convicted on the murder of Kiki.
Why did the DEA agent have a nickname?
I didn't research that. I don't know.
Why does that matter?
Kind of weird.
I mean, I'll look it up. I'll see. Yeah.
We'll do follow-up episode.
But you said he wasn't undercover, so he just wanted to be.
Well, he
named
did
Kiki.
some things, but it was all because of the corruption in the local police and in the government. So basically, it's this. What is the saying? It's if you have God, you don't need the angels. If you have the angels, you don't need God. And it's in relation to corruption in Mexico. And so basically, it means like if you've paid off the local authorities and you're only doing criminal activity in a local area, then you don't need to go up the ladder and have.
Could you imagine, John, if you could monetize the information that you have in your head?
I mean, aren't we monetizing with this podcast?
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
hey, Kevin, you haven't paid me for
yeah, I know.
ever.
Where is my $6 million check, Kevin?
I keep telling you, it's coming. I just got to move some money around.
I just got to launder and move some money.
Hey, cartel, Kevin.
And then if you have God, meaning that if you have like a really high up official paid off, then that gets you through. That's because that's how they basically the way they worked is they just paid off a bunch of fucking people, like every fucking not every, but so many like local police, state police, federal police, army, military. So many people were involved in, are being paid off by drug cartels. And we'll get
how many people who were murdered do you think would not have been murdered if drugs were never made illegal?
Like you're talking about ODs, or you're talking about or just murder in Mexico?
I'm just saying murders in general because
in the drug trade.
And I'm not saying I'm not advocating for all drugs to be legal. I'm not sure, I think was it Portugal who does that? It seems to be working okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just crazy to think about how much violence and how much death has
Well,
come from.
It all depends if H.H. Holmes or Sawyer Bean got a hold of them.
So this was like one of the last things I'm going to talk about, but since you brought it up, so the total casualties, and this is the number of people who have died in what is considered like war, right? So like fights, and this is like just in
Did you
Mexico.
ever see Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox?
I did.
Yeah.
Does
Good
it have
fucking
anything
movie.
to do with this?
Okay, well, it does.
Okay.
I don't know what.
John, I want this. John, I want the stat. Don't listen to Greg.
Okay. So the status. So
Fuck you,
41
Kevin.
41,000 people, like soldiers, or 41,000 people have died like in actual like shootouts, right? And that would be between like drug cartels and the like army, the like Mexican army, drug cartels and police. So that they consider that like war, like actual in the battle. But then you have an estimated, and this is just since 2006. So this is from 2006 to present. You have an estimated 400,000 dead, like innocent bystanders from the drug, from just being murdered.
400,000?
Wow.
400,000. And this is just in
fuck.
Mexico. This isn't there's no
This
Americans.
is way more than fucking dengue fever.
Yes.
I honestly thought with your first one, 41 seemed low, but then
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you throw that in there, then you're like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Well,
yeah,
and then
he just
there's-
went up a lot, didn't he?
There's another 60,000 plus people who have gone missing that they believe have gone missing in relation to drug cartels, because drug cartels, as they were organized and because of the structure of these cartels, the people at the top are making most of the money. And it's still like, for other things you can do in Mexico, it's still a very good living, but it led, like, they started doing human trafficking. They started doing
Maybe that's where my dad went. I mean, my mom always said he went out for a pack of cigarettes. Maybe something.
no,
It's a big
Greg,
leap there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm
he
so,
just went to the drug cartels.
no, he died. I'm sorry. He's no longer with us.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's true. He did die, but
Yeah.
not related to that.
So,
Although kind of related to it, because he was definitely on drugs when he died, because he was
Yeah.
on hospice and they gave him a lot of shit.
Well,
Remember,
and he was
John, we would go visit him
we did. I know.
a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
I remember the day you found out he died.
John was a really good friend. He still
Was.
is. He still is. I said was, and I know it's shitty, but I meant was.
No, we know what you meant.
I meant when I needed him the most, he was right there.
No. I
Him
remember
and
the day he
his-
died. And
Him and his half-inch beard.
you left.
This was back
Well,
when-
I think at that time it was like quarter-inch beard. It was
Could have been.
way less beard.
I love you, John. Thanks for being there for me. Buddy.
I love you
I
too.
needed you. I didn't know how much I needed you until I had you there.
Oh,
very special history defeats itself.
Kevin was never around when my dad died.
No,
I
Kevin's
was not.
No, he's not there for anything.
He was pissed because I didn't go to his wedding. Oh, I didn't get invited to his wedding.
Yes, you did.
Oh yeah, I did. Fuck.
Did your dad die after my wedding?
I don't know. I just felt like saying that to make you
Okay.
feel
He
bad.
did. He did die after your wedding.
Oh, okay.
He died because you
What
got
year
married.
did you get married?
he was in love with Sheena, and it was heartbreaking to him that he didn't have a shot.
What year did you get married?
It was April of 2012.
Yeah, that was before my dad died. Let's pour one out for Greg's dad.
For the A-man. Are you drinking straight whiskey?
Now I did because it was my dad.
God damn, dude. I could do a little sippy.
He never really drank much alcohol. My dad.
All right, come on. Let's get to I mean, this is the first fucking page. I've got
I
9
got
more
all
pages.
night.
You gotta stop
Motherfucker.
picking topics that could be like 15-part series.
I got all night.
I fucking really made it short. I edited the shit out of this, so it
No,
should
you
be.
didn't. No, you did not.
I did.
You didn't account for our stupidity. That's on you.
That's
I've been drunk for at least 35 minutes of this episode.
okay. All right. So then in the
I'm enjoying it, John.
no. So before,
No, don't rush. I got time.
So before moving from trafficking to cocaine, the Guadalajara cartel was moving a shit ton of marijuana into the U.S.
Do you need me to say Sinaloa again?
I do. The U.S. was pushing because so Kiki, right? So Kiki, the
Kiki
DEA
Palmer?
agent, knew, like, he knew about this field where they were growing marijuana, and it was 2,500 acres they were growing, like, in the middle of the Chihuahua Desert. And so the U.S. government was pushing them to basically go in and take this out, but the Mexican government didn't want to do it because a lot of the people who would make that call were getting payoffs from them. And
Do you think we should get someone to do to like sign what we're saying, so that way our deaf listeners can enjoy the podcast?
I don't think we have deaf listeners.
You don't know that.
I
Maybe we
don't.
can
I
get
mean,
more.
and that's fine.
They can do the YouTube thing and put the captions on.
That's true.
Okay, that's boring, but okay.
So we don't have a budget to hire a person who can sign.
Have you ever been to a festival, like a concert, and there's like someone in the corner signing the festival?
No,
the
I don't.
bands?
I don't go.
They're
I don't
always
go
just like
much.
really
Yeah,
into
they're
it
just
and stuff. Yeah.
That's part of the signing.
I learned.
I love you.
It's 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 fuck you. It's so it's fuck you, twat waffle. I learned that today. So
It's so funny because it didn't get funny until the waffle.
so I learned that taking a poop.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Ow. What?
So anyway, so there was this place that they had the Guadalajara cartel. They had a place in the Chihuahua Desert that they called the Rancho Buffalo, which is just Buffalo Ranch. And so it was,
Really?
Yeah.
That's
that's what it was called.
Put it
You
on
know
the
what?
nose.
That one actually, John. I think I got that. I think I had that one. Surprisingly.
For our,
You
for
only
our
have to get rid of the O in Rancho.
Rancho Buffalo or Buffalo Ranch. And so they had, so it was 2,500 acres.
That's where
they
John
had,
lost his virginity.
They had 25 warehouses that were basically all bigger than the. And this was funny because I'm currently actually listening to this book called El Narco, written by this British guy, and he was talking about it, and it was 25. They had 25 warehouses that were bigger than football fields, and I was like, oh, and then I realized he was talking about soccer fields.
Oh.
So you have to do conversion.
Yeah, so I had to do a conversion. So I don't know
Fucking
how big a soccer
Europeans.
field is compared. I know soccer fields actually vary in size. They're not like a standardized thing.
Are you,
But-
really?
Yeah,
Soccer,
they're
a
not.
soccer field's bigger than a football field, right? Or at least it's wider, I think.
I think so, but it's like every stadium in Europe and all over the world, the soccer fields are different sizes. I mean, there may be some that are equal, but there's not a standardized size.
There should be.
There should be, but it's
And they should be a lot smaller. They're way too big.
They
Sport
should-
would
and
be
they
a lot
should-
more exciting.
They should be the size
figure
of
out
a
a way to maybe.
rink.
I think what they should do is freeze the soccer field, and have all the soccer players put on skates, and maybe instead of using the ball, they should use a puck.
Are you talking about field
And-
hockey? I feel
And
like
then
this is field
maybe
hockey.
they should have hockey sticks. I don't know, hockey sticks.
Have either of you
and
ever
then-
played field hockey?
No.
No, and the reason why is because we're not girls at prep school.
All right.
And it's the sticks are too short. I can't bend over like that. It looks hard on the
Yeah,
back.
it looks like
it's
and-
real hard
yeah.
on the back.
Yeah, Kevin's got scoliosis. He's not doing that.
I don't, but I should.
And he doesn't wear underwear, so when he's running around, his balls are just slapping on
It's
his
just
legs.
slapping all over my leg. It's a way. I normally wear underwear. I'm pro underwear.
I don't
usually,
know. I don't
I
know.
usually tape up Kevin in the locker room. Today, for some reason, we ran out of tape.
Well, my balls are swollen.
As they should be. So they had these 25 warehouses and then they end up, the Mexican Army goes in and they end up burning, between what they had drying in the warehouses and what they had in the field, they end up burning 10,000 tons of marijuana.
Jesus,
That's a lot.
It's a lot more than I have in the garage.
I have so little of marijuana, I don't even measure it in tons, I measure it in grams.
Well, it's a bigger number.
Wow, that's insanity.
So the value, and this happened in November 1984. So the estimated value at that time was $160 million. So if you translate that in 2024 dollars, it would be about $428 million worth of weed.
$428 million.
Which kind of like, if that happened to you, you're like, who's to blame for this? And like, oh, this DEA agent, and then they killed him. You know, I'm not saying the guy deserved to die, but I'm saying, like, if you're a drug organization and someone cost you $428 million, you're not gonna be happy about it.
No, you do the right thing. You can't justify murder.
I'm not saying you can. I don't.
No, you're saying you.
No,
Well,
I'm not.
you're
No, I'm not. I'm saying that, like,
He's saying that it makes sense that they went after him.
right. That
He's saying it's not right but you can see why it happened.
Well, no. Right. I don't agree.
What
with
John
it.
said was, I would have done the same fucking thing. That's what I heard John say.
if I were
What
a drug
John
cartel,
said was, John said I pulled the trigger.
here's the thing. If either one of you guys cost me $428 million, I feel it'd be justified in murdering you, not torturing you. Just a quick shot to the head.
John, you would kill us over $28.
Well, I mean, if you were near me, yes. Like I'm not going to get on a plane and go somewhere to do it. But yeah. I would kill you over like a Del Taco Mill. So I'm a murdery kind of guy. We've established that early on. If of the three of us, who's going to murder? It's going to be me. Not really.
He's
I'm not
definitely
really.
gonna get caught because he's gonna fucking leave beard pubes at the.
Well, here's the thing.
Beard peel.
I feel guilty. Like I can't even like do like a little white lie. I always feel guilty. So like, man, if I killed someone, I'd tell everybody. Like I just guilt. Like I killed that guy. I feel really bad about it. I should go.
I can tell white lies, but yeah, if I killed somebody, I think the guilt would get to me.
I don't know. I feel like it's a slippery slope there, liar. Oh, how the tables have turned. Anyway, yeah.
Good Lord, you one hit and run, and all of a sudden you're a bad man.
One non-yielding at a roundabout, and all of a sudden you're fucking the Pope.
So on the same year that
1995.
So 1984. So in the same year that the Mexican government is burning this field, the Colombian cartels. You may have heard of this gentleman named Pablo Escobar, or
Ooh. There's a show about him.
There is a show about it. There's
What's it called?
Lots of shows. But so basically, they had the Caribbean thing. They were flying through the Caribbean, and so the U.S. government, Ronald Reagan actually got the Navy involved, got the Army involved, and it was like a literal war on drugs. So they were really tightening up that corridor.
I know. Let's send a Navy.
Like,
just say no, say no, say no, say no. Mr. President, there's no ocean anywhere near there. But I think the Coast Guard needs to get there.
So about the time
Mexico, tear down this wall.
So about the time they're shutting off the Caribbean corridor, is right when the NAFTA deal goes through.
Mr. John Banks, tear down.
Greg does a really good old man voice, doesn't he?
Mr. John Banks, take down this wall.
Do the whistly old man, Greg.
And tuck me in. And read me a story, Nancy. I think that's maybe. I can't do it because I used to be able to do the old man because I had that tooth thing.
Oh.
And now my teeth are fucking.
Oh.
God damn it! Why did I ever get
Should've
fucking
got 'em fixed.
implants?
Knock him
Should've
out
got 'em
again.
fixed.
Knock him out again.
I used to have the sweetest.
Yeah, punch
whistle.
yourself so yeah, get rid of him.
I used to have the best whistling old man voice ever. Just
So as that's happening, you have NAFTA, right, that starts. And so NAFTA really opens up the border. And so basically, so the Cali cartel and the Medellin cartel, which actually, I learned this reading this book. So what they call them cartels, but actually it really was just, like Pablo Escobar was like the famous person out of the Medellin cartel, but it was actually like a large group of smugglers, right? Like they all work together.
would you call them cells?
Sleeper cells.
Well, so it did start to like the drug trade actually transformed with the Juarez cartel, and they basically like they figured out how to kind of do it where you had like the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing, because that's one of the problems was if somebody got busted, then they would kind of give everybody up or get murdered. Most of the time they'd get murdered.
Or both.
Yeah.
I'm giving everybody up and now I'm murdered.
If it's anything like every single TV show I've seen about
Right?
it,
Yeah.
bad.
That's not going to go well.
Nobody.
Didn't Richard Nixon kind of start the war on drugs?
Well, he started the DEA.
Okay.
Yeah, he started
Okay.
the DEA in like 73 or 74.
Because he was big on like criminalization of drugs, wasn't he? I remember this
He's also
something.
super. I mean, but like we talked, like it's all like the desire to make drugs illegal is very rooted in racism, and it's like proven, like these things, like there's recordings of him basically talking about like wanting to stop weed and heroin because of the blacks, right? Like so, it's something he said something like that in his recordings, and the same thing, like Harry Anslinger was like a big guy, a big pusher in 1917 for the Harris Bill, the Harris Act, which made opium and cocaine illegal, and he was very prejudiced against Mexicans, right? So so it was like, and he believed that Mexican, and it was like, if they smoke weed, they'll rape your women, they'll start raping white women, and there's all that kind of stuff, right? So it's definitely like the war.
Because we all know when you're high, the first thing you want to do is go out and commit violent crime.
Yeah, after you eat Del Taco,
After you-
and watch like 7 hours of television, then
yeah,
you're like,
exactly. Yeah,
now I'm
Fairness,
full of
most of
rage
that
and murder
crime-
and rape. Yeah,
Most of that crime you want to commit against your toilet.
because of the Del Taco.
I know. It's like I'm not even gonna have the energy to masturbate. I'm definitely not gonna have the energy to get up and go like sexually assault someone.
No.
Yeah, you're not going to plot a crime.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned it on.
I don't remember why I got up.
Exactly. I have to go back to the room where I had the idea.
Was I going to the bathroom or going to murder someone?
I don't remember. Yeah, I think I've mentioned this on this podcast before, and I'm not a Joe Rogan fan at all, but he did have a good line years ago that was, "I've never heard of anybody getting high and going home and beating their wife." And it's a good line. It's
true.
Good, it's very true. It's a when
I mean, I would say it's
Unless,
definitely
unless she did not have those quesadillas ready.
that is true. That is true.
But
Good
again,
point,
I
That
Greg.
was a satirical joke. Satirical joke.
So like
No one's
as
advocating
the
that.
Caribbean thing shutting down, then you have this whole network of already set up in Mexico where they're moving, and again they're moving mostly weed at this point. They're still moving a little bit of opium, but it's mostly weed. And so then
Cannabis.
cocaine comes along
For
and the
you
prof-
European listeners.
well, the profit margin on cocaine is insane, right? Like it's basically you can make $5 million a week versus
Okay,
what
hang
you
on.
were
Hang on.
making.
I'm writing
Yeah,
this
but
down. I'm writing
what's
this
your
down.
cost? What's your COGs?
Your I don't know what's the cost of
Cost of goods?
goods.
cost of goods.
Yeah, what's your overhead looking like?
You got to factor it in, buddy.
Well, at this point
You got a lot of insurance
what if-
needed for that.
What if you're making $5 million a week, but your costs are $6 million a week? You're
no,
in the
no,
hole.
no, it's $5 million profit. You're making $5 million. You're clearing.
well, that's
you're clearing
important.
$5 million.
Is
yeah.
that
I
after
thought you were just
commissions?
saying in sales. Yeah.
That's after commissions?
Well, they don't really do commissions. They have a bonus structure, and that's mostly like trips to Hawaii and
Pyramid
Guadalajara.
scheme. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Puerto Vallarta.
Fancy cars.
Yeah.
Man, this sales manager is constantly moving the goalposts.
So basically, this Felix guy, right? So he like goes down and he meets with the Cali cartel, and then the Cali cartel is like, okay, we're in, and they were getting paid. They just basically were getting paid to traffic, so they weren't getting a cut. And basically, what they would do is they would deliver they would fly the cocaine from Colombia into Nicaragua. No, what's the fucking Honduras? So they would fly that into Honduras, and then they would move it through Honduras, Guatemala, and into Mexico, and then come up to the border.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was like it's crazy, right?
I think
But they were
John
only
did
getting
this entire episode on an episode of Miami Vice. He said,
cocaine cowboys. So they were only getting paid to sell it, and then I'm getting paid to transport it, right? So their percentage was small, but still they were making a shit ton of money. And then basically what they would do is once they got it across the border, they would deliver it to a location that the Cali cartel and then eventually Pablo Escobar got involved with, the Medellin cartel. So they would deliver.
Medellin.
Like they would deliver where they wanted, like so the Medellin. Because hey,
Medellin.
who's been to Colombia, motherfucker? You or me? Me.
I have not, so I can't.
Or is
I would totally go there if it wasn't for the fucking drugs.
it was? We loved it. I highly recommend.
I've heard really good things about
It was
Colombia.
amazing.
You love the drugs?
No, Colombia. We loved
Oh.
we loved Medellin, Bogota, Jericho. It was all amazing. Cartagena sucked. Don't go to Cartagena because you might as well just go to Miami. It's just the same. Like don't go to Cartagena. But anyway, so they started moving it, and then
This travel advice brought to you
Would
by
they-
Airbnb John Makes.
So they would deliver it to like a place in the United States that were basically Colombian drug dealers, and so they were just paid as like transportation. But then in the late '80s, early '90s, as basically because what happened was Felix got arrested in 1989. Miguel Felix Corrado was arrested and convicted for his involvement in the Kiki murder, and he's serving 37 years in prison and in Mexico in a Mexican jail. And the arrest led to the fragmentation of the Guadalajara cartel into very smaller cartels, initiating a power struggle and causing a rise in violence and murder. Right. So you had basically it's like you have these three corridors. So you had Tijuana, Juarez, and the Brown. I forget the Mexican side of it, but it was going into Brownsville, Texas. And so you had these three corridors that were kind of run by these three groups, and then they start fucking killing each other over like who's going to control it all. Right.
Just like The Wire. You guys just work together.
Yep. Who was the guy who robbed the drug dealers? What was
Omar.
Yeah.
Said that actor died like a year ago.
Yeah,
too. It was really sad.
Yeah,
really sad.
He's good.
He was awesome.
And so
I'm sorry,
now,
he was awesome.
And now basically what you have going on now is so you now have the like second generation of, so you have all of these like people who set this thing up. Now their kids are like basically like the leaders of these cartels.
Well, it's nepotism,
They're nepo babies. Exactly.
They're nepo babies, yeah.
And then let's see. In 2008, you had the U.S. and Mexico launched a joint effort to combat drug trafficking and organized crime, providing aid for equipment, training, and intelligence sharing. And we actually went in and we trained all of these fucking like what we thought were Mexican police on how to like do military tactics, and it turns out a lot of them were actually drug traffickers. So we actually
God
trained.
damn it!
How many times has that happened?
So many times.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
we
we are our worst enemy.
talk about not learning from our history.
No.
I mean, fuck me.
Yeah.
God, next thing you know, David Copperfield's accidentally going to give him all his fucking magic tricks. Damn it, we got duped.
So then in 2006, you had Felipe Calderon, who was the president. He increased military involvement, and then by deploying military and leading which actually led a surge in violence, didn't decrease violence, right? So because basically what happens is it's kind of like every time the Mexican government, so they're either corrupt or when they actually go after these guys, then like the cartels, they've killed judges, newspaper reporters, police
They're not
chiefs.
good people.
No,
Nope.
they're not good people. According to Greg, I think you're fine because I don't want to die.
I mean, what I meant
Oh,
to
now
say,
you're worried.
what I meant to say is they're really good people.
In 2009,
He didn't say they're not good people. He said they're hot and good people.
They're hot, good people. El Chapo in 2009 was captured and he escaped from Mexican prison. But then he was recaptured in 2016, where he was extradited to the U.S. and I think he's there. I think he's still there now.
I think I think
like,
they have him in some sort of
Yeah.
Like Hannibal Lecter kind of setup.
On a dolly.
And despite efforts to combat drug trafficking, it remains a significant challenge with various.
If these episodes go too long, I get way too drunk.
Well, and that's the thing is like I'm looking at the time and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to skip the whole government. Just know. So basically, from 1929 to 2000, there was the PRI, which was the Institutional Revolutionary Party, or in Spanish, the Partido
This episode of
Revolucionario
NPR brought to you
Institucional.
by PRI,
What?
the National Radio Exchange.
And so it's like basically it was like a one-party government, and so it was so fucking corrupt. Like they did good. It also did good things being one-party government, but that's like their legacy is kind of like they're just so fucking corrupt. And like if they hadn't been corrupt, you probably wouldn't have had we wouldn't be where we are today. And
we probably wouldn't even have pickleball.
Well, and also, America is to blame because we have a very large appetite for drugs, right?
Yeah, of course.
If we weren't buying drugs, then they wouldn't,
Which was, I think, the whole just say no and war on drugs and all that stuff was, their way of trying to keep people from, getting addicted. So then supply and demand and all that. But it's just, drugs are too great. You can't.
This cat was in the room the whole time.
Nobody cares.
I didn't even know.
Greg is really drunk.
No, I'm not really drunk.
So, according to a 2017 study by Global Financial Integrity, which is a Washington think tank studying illicit flows of money, it estimated that Mexican cartels' retail value is between 426 to 652 billion dollars.
Jesus.
fuck. That's a big number.
So now here's the
large
crazy
number.
thing. So the largest company in Mexico is Petróleos Mexicanos, and it is only valued at around 142 billion.
Jesus.
Right. So now imagine if you're a country and your biggest company is 142 billion and your illegal drug trade is 650 billion. What kind of influence are you going to fucking have in that country?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And now
Is it going to be big?
it's going to be big.
Ooh,
And
ooh.
well,
It's
and
big.
now basically Mexican. So in Colombia, Mexican cartels, because the longest time, Colombians were still producing the cocaine. Now Mexican cartels have moved into the jungles and they're actually they're in control of the whole operation. So, and there's like the violence in Colombia is starting to get violent again. What are you doing? Why are you writing big?
Because big influence.
Oh,
I got so much cat hair on my sleeve from holding that cat for like 3 seconds.
all right.
He's
so-
really, really very drunk.
and blah blah
Not
blah
drunk.
blah blah.
Fuck you,
and stuff.
Kevin.
So the answer to the question, last call,
Do you guys
does
have a
history
lint
repeat
brush?
itself? Yeah.
I need one.
Are we defeating ourselves? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say, like, I would make the argument that I think the only way you're going to win the war on drugs is to stop having a war on drugs, and we have to do it. Like, if we want the violence in Mexico to stop, because people aren't going to fucking stop doing drugs, and if you want the violence in Mexico to stop, then you have to do it. You have to legalize it here, kind of follow Portugal's model. And then basically what you would do is you would work out trade agreements. And unfortunately, you'd have to work out trade agreements with Mexican cartels because they're not going to give up the power, but you could stop the violence. Right. Because it's too much money. Nobody's going to give up.
That's another way of defeating yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know how it's going in Portugal?
Yeah, Portugal has the lowest rate of teen addiction in the world. Or of Western countries, like
He's
of
making it up.
developed countries, right? It has has one of the greatest recovery rates. Like on all measures, it hits. But so we like Portland and Seattle and LA have all taken part of that policy, which is just like we're not going to arrest people anymore for drugs. But Portugal, what they do, and this is where they've decriminalized a lot of stuff, and basically it's like they don't penalize you if you're an addict. So if you're an addict in Portugal, so if you're a heroin addict or cocaine addict or whatever it is in Portugal, you cannot get fired for failing a drug test as long as you're not as long as you're not high at work, right? So in other words, and that's so you're allowing someone who has an addiction to keep money, right? To keep their livelihood, to keep their lifestyle, so then you don't end up with somebody who becomes and they find that basically if you have community and you have a job, that your recovery, like people are able to recover a lot faster, and they have one of the lowest like addiction rates in the world.
How about crime?
Don't
Is it
murder you.
low crime rate?
I don't know. Like there's not a lot of crime associated with drugs,
Right.
and that's, I know, like in LA, like we have fuck tons of crime related to drugs, and not necessarily violent crime, just a lot of like theft, right? A lot of cars get broken into.
Sure.
So it's expensive here, and there's definitely like on border towns, there's murder, and there's all kinds of shit. So anyway, dun 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 dun, dun. Drugs are bad.
Cartel's good though. Don't kill us.
Yeah, we love the cartels. Hey, let's cheers the cartels.
Please
You
don't kill
guys
us.
keep.
You
not
guys,
defeating
you know
yourself.
what? You are entrepreneurs in my mind.
I mean, they're really, they're. I will say it is pretty fucking impressive how these guys, like, what these guys did, like from Pablo Escobar to Felix to I forget.
But they're a little heavy on the murder.
no, they're
Yeah,
heavy
a
on the
little heavy
murder.
on the murder.
They're heavy
That
on the
is for
murder.
sure.
Maybe
Yeah.
knock that shit off.
For sure, but like just like the organization and the systems they set up to move this stuff through, and how creative they get with like just like how creative, like it's just crazy how creative they get in getting drugs across the border. Like El Chapo was the one. El Chapo, like the way he escaped with jail was through a tunnel, but he basically was one of the first guys to come up with the idea to build a tunnel from Tijuana under the U.S. border going into a house. So because he bought
John's
yeah,
house.
Yeah, So, what did you say?
Nothing.
There are a lot of people always milling around behind him, usually in underwear, because he doesn't trust them and all that, and
Yeah,
holding large amounts of cash.
yeah. Anyway,
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that was an uplifting one. I like those.
Thanks, John. That was awesome.
Thought there's gonna be more jokes about drugs.
I mean, it was I thought we did all right. We're
There
just
were jokes.
terrified. Look, we're terrified of the cartels.
I mean, it makes
let's just
sense.
call
It
it
makes
what it
sense.
is.
It is a touchy subject.
Well, and Kevin, you're the tallest, so you're gonna be the easiest one to see. They'll shoot you first.
Fucking
Greg gonna have a chance.
And
to
I'm the
win.
whitest.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, on a snowy day, I might be in a good spot. You guys are fucked on a snowy day.
You have to move to Minnesota.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And until next time, we love the cartels.